Welcome to another Fantasy Goodfellas video where we talk about the top 15 tight end rankings for week 6. Richard, you ready?
Let's do it.
The Fantasy Goodfellas.
Boom, boom, boom.
Rolling on the field.
The Fantasy Goodfellas. All right, before we get started on this week's rankings, Richard, tell me how you did last week.
Okay, if we take out Kyle Pitts, who didn't play, Darren Waller, who got hurt almost immediately, and Dalton Schultz, who aggravated his knee injury, we hit on 7 of 12 tight ends. Not bad. We're going to try to do better this week, though.
All right. Before we get started, let me just explain what you should expect in our video. Richard's going to give his rankings. I'm going to use the stat machine to see if you agree or disagree with each of his rankings. But most importantly, we hope that it helps you set up your lineups. All right, Richard, line them up.
Just before we start, just one thing I'm very proud of. We did hit on Taysom Hill. We didn't think he was going to be the number 1 tight end, but we definitely had him in our top 15.
We'll get to that.
Number 1, we have Travis Kelce, home against Buffalo. Surprise, surprise, the king is back. Kelce caught 4 touchdown passes Monday night. If you saw that, only 26 yards, but 4 touchdowns. We'll surely take that. And number 2, Mark Andrews at the New York Giants. Mark Andrews also had a decent game and a touchdown. Those 2 guys you can count on. After that, so who do we have at 3? Taysom Hill, home against Cincinnati. I have Taysom Hill in 3 leagues. Why? Because I believe in that crazy upside. So far, he's put up, I think he scored in 3 different weeks. Well, a touchdown pretty much separates you from the rest of the tight end landscape. I mean, you're often going to get goose eggs, very little production. So why not? And if Taysom Hill gets that break and gets to start, he's going to be a league winner. Obviously, they'll change his designation back to quarterback like they did last year. But if you had him last year, I did. He will win you games from the tight end position. So for that reason, sorry, I went a little long. But number 3, Taysom Hill. Number 4, Zach Ertz at Seattle. We know that Seattle defense is bad. Ertz is starting to show signs of life. I mean, he has played well. We know Kyler Murray is looking for him. Number 5, Dallas Goedert, home against Dallas. Very consistent. Not spectacular, but consistent. We like Goedert here. Number 6, Tyler Higbee, home against Carolina. Another guy that has not been spectacular, but consistent. Consistent, and people were honest about Tyler Higbee. We're ranking him too low. Well, he's in the top 10 now. And number 7, George Kittle at Atlanta. We like the matchup more than the way Kittle's been playing, or at least the way they've been using him. Garoppolo hasn't really eyed him as much as he has in the future, but that has always been a strong running team. And number 8, Hayden Hurst at New Orleans. Big Red showing signs of life. And with T. Higgins hurt, they're definitely looking his way more. And number 9, Pat Freiermuth, home against Tampa Bay. Here's a guy that's been pretty consistent all season, except last week. We'll see, and funny, that's the week Pickett started, right? We'll see if Pickett starts to look his way, or he could take a big hit in value. And number 10, David Njoku, home against New England. Tough defensive matchup, but Njoku is showing signs of life, being more consistent. Brissett's looking his way. And number 11, Gerald Everett, home against Denver. Everett had a dud in week 5. We expect him to rebound. Justin Herbert's too good. And number 12, welcome, Evan Ingram at Indianapolis. He had 10 targets in week 5. So we got to follow up on that. We know Trevor Lawrence is having his issues, but he did look Evan Ingram's way a lot when in trouble. We'll see if that trend continues. And number 13, Will Dissly, home against Arizona. Disley didn't have a good week 5, didn't do much, but that Seattle offense has been on fire. Geno Smith has been on fire. That Arizona game is going to be a shootout. And number 14, Cade Otton at Pittsburgh. If Cameron Brate misses another game due to a concussion, Cade will do okay. Brady was looking his way. And look what Brady does for Fournette, obviously. And if Brady continues, if he catches fire again, Otton could have some good weeks. And number 15, Tyler Conklin at Green Bay. Tyler might be on his way out. We're going to give him one more break. He's a very athletic tight end. Let's see how Zach Wilson uses him in week 6.
All right, real quick before we leave, I just want to point out a couple things. There's Dallas Goedert. You have a 5. Some people have him higher just because he's on that Philadelphia. And George Kittle. What do you think George Kittle can do to move up?
We know, again, the question is he, how healthy is he? But we know Kittle's potential. We know he's a big athletic tight end, almost like that pseudo receiver, like Darren Waller. We know what he can do. Now it's just a matter of how they're going to use him. Right now, just with Deebo Samuel, with the rise of Deebo Samuel, with a strong running game, they just haven't had to lean on him. Or he might not be 100%. There are question marks with Kittle, but we've seen it in the past. We've seen what he can do.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on here and sharing your top 15 tight end rankings for week 6.
Those fantasy good fellas.
The ruling on the field.
Those fantasy good fellas.